Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Ellie Goodrich, who played goalie locally at Alexandria City High School. She's now a goalie at Old Dominion. She's I think, a redshirt sophomore or junior.
Correct.
And also recently, she's been on the national team, futsal team. I think the inaugural first national futsal team that just played in the CONCACAF tournament down in the Caribbean. I think now she's talking to me from Florida. So Ellie has a really good life. Ellie, great to see you. Thanks for doing this.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course. So, well, Ellie, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but we've had playoffs in high school around here locally, and we've had a lot of penalty shootouts this year. It's crazy, and we had two big upsets on the boys' side this week. McLean, it was probably 4 or 5 D1 players, amazing team, got out on penalties, and then Westfield, another great team, got out. Do you have you ever been in a penalty shootout in a knockout game in high school? Do you like that situation as a goalkeeper?
Um, I wasn't as a player in high school. My let's see, junior year, we had Kara Martin as a senior.
Mhm.
So she participated in the penalty shootout. I think I took a penalty though.
Okay.
But I wasn't a goalkeeper for that. And then my senior year, I wasn't able to play
Right.
because of an injury. But besides that, yeah, I've been a part as like a spectator for sure.
Yeah.
And my team has been in a couple.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? Uh,
My team has been in a couple,
yeah.
so they're fun. I enjoy them.
So you like the idea of deciding a huge game like that with penalties?
Um, I do, yeah, for sure. I think it's fun. It's better than kind of waiting around for a goal in regular time and maybe getting a little sloppy, someone parking the bus or something like that. But and it definitely changes that, keeps it exciting.
Yeah. And obviously, would you enjoy being the goalkeeper in that situation where, one or two saves and your team can go through to in a big knockout tournament?
Yeah, for sure. I think that pressure's, I think it's kind of what we live for as athletes, especially as goalkeepers. That's what we look forward to. So, I would love to be a part of that for sure. I know my team has been in a couple in like the Sun Belt tournament. So it's always exciting to be there and the nerves are there for sure, but there's also a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and I know ODU was in the NCAA's 2 years ago, your freshman year, because I saw you at Georgetown. Did you guys talk a lot about penalties? Now, obviously, when teams are in the postseason, they always start to practice penalty kicks. But did you and the other goalies, I forgot their names. Did you guys? Aaron Jones is one of them, I believe. But um,
Correct, yeah.
did you guys talk a lot about penalties and what to do in your strategy when you got into the postseason?
As a goalkeeper unit, not too much. I mean, like you said, we start practicing kicks going into the tournament, so we get to practice making saves at the same time. So with our coach pre-game, we usually go over the primary shooter for the team. Obviously, if we go into a shootout and there's 5 shooters, we don't have enough information on that to scout.
Right.
But besides that, I mean, we're goalkeepers and we just gotta trust our instincts and we work on the technique and reading the players and looking at their hips or their foot or all that stuff. But it's not too in depth because once you get into the moment, it's just you gotta go and hope for the best.
Yeah. So as a keeper, you're not guessing which way due to like for example three earlier kickers went to the right, so maybe this one to go to the left. You're basically reacting to their body language and the way they're moving up towards the ball.
Yeah, most of the time. Of course, like you said, those mind games do come into play.
Mhm.
But you got to remember each shooter is on their own and they have nothing to do with who went before, who's coming after them. Um, so yeah, it does come down to reading it and some players are great at like changing their body language to trick you to go one way. So you just everyone has their different tactics, whether it's looking at their eyes or their hips or the plant foot or trying to jump a little bit early or wait to react. So it depends on the person for sure.
Yeah. Well, Ellie, you're a very nice person. Always have a smile for everybody and very pleasant. But some goalkeepers really play mind games. They walk towards the player. They kind of clap. At the game I was at the other day, one of the goalies was definitely trying to intimidate one of the goalies was leaving the goal while the guy was warming up and not coming back until he's over the ball and the whistle was getting ready to be blown. Um, do you play any mind games like that, or do you kind of just stick to the physical part of the physical and mental part of the save?
I don't try to play too many mind games. Of course, I'll do my best to kind of. I think the best mind game to play is just confidence and showing the other player that you really believe you're going to save it or you know where they're going. Maybe I'll take my time getting on the line, but I don't try and walk up to the ball. I'm not trying to get yelled at by the ref, honestly. So I'll do my best to get in their head within reason and not do too much because then at the end of the day, if they make it, then I don't want that ego boost for them either.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this might be a dumb question and probably just only my first dumb question of the day. But does it hurt when the ball is rocketed at you from, I guess what it's 12 feet or 12, I don't know how long it is, but does that actually physically hurt your hands and your arms when you save it?
Honestly, no. That could be me just being used to it. If it hits my hands and I do it correctly, no. I mean, obviously there's possibility if it only hits one arm and then my arm isn't locked or my wrists aren't ready for it, then no. But I think by this point, like I'm pretty used to it. If it hits elsewhere, like if it hits in the stomach or in the chest, yeah, that hurts a little bit more. But besides that, no, not really. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about futsal now because that's why we called this meeting, and we'll get to ODU later. First of all, what is the women's futsal scene like? I know your coach Diego Barato he had a long career as a futsal player, a professional futsal player in Italy, even though he's a Brazilian. So you can make a career in men's um, futsal. I know in Brazil it's a pretty popular game as well where he's from. But what about the women? Where is the futsal game, first of all, professionally, but also on the international level? International level.
Yeah, professionally, there are minimal opportunities. I'm not gonna say there are none. I think right now Portugal might have the best kind of system set up, but then again, it's tough. I think women's sports is still trying to grow, especially futsal, which isn't a main sport. And then there are teams around Spain, and I mean, similar to men, the Barcelona team is pretty solid. But internationally, the South American teams, Brazil, Argentina, are pretty good. I've heard that Russia's got a good squad, and then I think the U.S. kind of made a name. We didn't get the results we wanted, but we played pretty well, and Canada obviously qualified and won the tournament. So I think it's growing for sure. And that's just what we hope to do with the World Cup coming up in November. I hope that just opens up more opportunities.
Yeah. Ellie, do you remember that time we were at the futsal tournament in New Jersey several years ago? And those two awesome teams from Montreal were there, the girls and the boys, and they were so good, but they were so physical. Do you remember playing that Canadian team that day?
I do, yeah. I mean, they're like the Canadian Sophia. They just walk around with their French music blasting from the speakers, and they've got the club all behind them. All their games would be packed, and I mean, it's different being on the court where you don't understand the language that the team is speaking. So that was probably my first experience of that, which was pretty cool. But New Jersey definitely has like a great tournament, and that was the root of my futsal for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was your team or maybe the '04s, but after the game, they just rushed the court on the girls' game, and they were quite enthusiastic. That was a real good time. So, in terms of futsal, in basketball now, there's 3-on-3 basketball, and it's actually an Olympic sport. Is futsal an Olympic sport yet?
Not yet,
Uh,
no. I think it will be soon. I'm hoping soon.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's a very popular sport. But you may know in basketball there's 3-on-3. And the players who play on the Olympic team in Europe they have pro leagues in 3-on-3 basketball. And it's pretty big in some of the Eastern European countries, Yugoslavia and Poland, it's really big. In Holland it's big. Here it's not big. We have the best basketball players generally, even though the rest of the world's catching up. But 3-on-3, we're surprisingly a little bit behind the rest of the world. Um, the players that make up the 3-on-3 teams aren't necessarily our best basketball players. They're
Mhm.
specialists. They're really good at 3-on-3. They might be great shooters. Maybe they're not fast enough for full court basketball, but they're really good. So they tend to be specialists, even though we had some women who were really good college players. I can't think of one of the women, Van Lith, one of the women's. Anyway, in futsal, is it the same thing? Do you have, are these specialists that only play futsal, or are these great soccer players that also play futsal?
I think it depends. I would say with it growing and it becoming more popular, yes, specialization is definitely gives an advantage. I know, I mean, everyone on my team, we've all played soccer at some point. So it's not like an exclusive sport where you only do one or the other. But I have teammates that started with futsal before even playing soccer and now they play soccer. Or in other countries, I know even like a name like Neymar, like they started with futsal and now they're a great soccer player. But I think for an international professional level, like you're saying, in like an Olympic team, it wouldn't be a team of soccer players going to play futsal. I think futsal is too niche for that and it has different skill sets that are necessary on both the court and in goal. Um, so I think it would be specialists for sure. And with the professional leagues popping up and the international landscape growing even more, specialization is important. And I think it's great that there are more programs out there that are allowing for that to happen now. Like I know Alexandria, we kind of only played futsal in the winter, but now it's kind of growing. You can play in the summer and maybe there's a rain out for practice and then you just go inside and you play futsal instead of going outside. So I think a lot of new opportunities are opening up and people are learning about the game and starting to fall in love with it as well.
Yeah, and shout out to Alexandria for making futsal more than just off-season training and making it and giving it the respect it deserves. So all the women on your team, on your national team, they all have had good soccer careers. Every one of them, or are some of them more futsal players than soccer players?
I would say if they're not in college now, they have played college soccer.
Mhm.
Yes. If not pro. There are a couple that have played pro before or have at least tried. And now I think it's a little like futsal's a little bit easier for older women to play. And
Mhm.
that doesn't mean they're not as good as the younger players. It's just uh, the conditions are a little bit easier on their bodies. So definitely we have a couple ex-pros that are playing and current college players as well, like myself, which is great to have just a group of us that bring a lot of different experiences to the table.
Yeah, and so I remember you're in '05, being in the same club. Are you on the young? So you're on the young side. You and the college kids, college players, college women. You guys are on the young side of the futsal. Most of them are women that are former college players.
Right. Yeah, I think the youngest we had was maybe my age or a freshman in college.
Hmm.
We did have like a 17-year-old come in. But we're all 19, 20, and then going all the way up until maybe 36.
Oh,
So it's quite a range. Yeah.
yeah. I remember the Alexandria team having some older players. One of them
Hmm.
was the general manager of the Houston NLSL team. What was her name? I can't think of her name because
It was Alex
yeah,
Smith.
Alex. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
interviewed her. Should at least
Yeah.
I should at least know her name. So the last time we talked, uh, I guess was you were still senior in high school, and you had just been named to the futsal and futsal pool, and I believe the other goalies were local, and well, it seems you survived and you were the top goalkeeper, at the recent CONCACAF. I know there was another goalkeeper that played as well. Um, what was the process of you winning that spot? Was that a long 2-year battle, or just explain to us how you became the top goalkeeper?
Yeah, so it started with didn't have a futsal team. So like when we last talked, I'm sure I talked about how it was just IB camps. So you were just hoping to get invited to IB camps, and that's kind of the way international football or futsal is. you go to camp, you do your best, and then you hope you get invited to the next one. It's not like you make the team and you're stuck in it. Um, so I think I went to two ID camps in um, California, and then there was another ID camp I didn't go to in Pennsylvania because I was at school. And then there was the first full camp where we weren't like trying out or anything, and that was held in Georgia last August, but I wasn't able to make that because I was in preseason. And then we had a camp in Virginia, and then we went to Costa Rica, and then we went to Guatemala. So it was a quick turnaround. I mean, you're there for maybe 5 days, and you got to work really hard to get to know your teammates and prove yourself at the same time because you're just always trying to fight for that next roster spot and do your best to it's tough to leave. You only have 5 days of futsal, and then I go back to college soccer. Most people just go back to college soccer, and then you don't play futsal for however long until the next camp. So that's a tough balance to try and do both at the same time or figure out your priorities in that way. But for me, it was just enjoying the game and learning as much as possible and cramming in that information when we are all together and asking questions while we're at camp and figuring out the best way to do things because I mean futsal was still growing and soccer I played for 18 years or so and futsal I've played for maybe 6 or 7, so there's a discrepancy there, but it's just a learning mindset and trying to grow as much as possible when you get the opportunity.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's really fluid. Like you almost don't make the team. You're always trying to be invited back. It's never
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an interesting relationship. You're not it's not a marriage. It's like you're dating and you're constantly trying to get that invitation back. It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every camp, there's 1 or 2 players that don't make it, 1 or 2 players that are, this is their first camp and they got to catch up on all the information. So, it's great. The coaches are phenomenal. And I think they're pretty fair with that process and have a good communication system down, and the staff is incredibly supportive. So, it's very, like you said, it's fluid, but it's seamless at the same time where we all enjoy each other's company. We know what we're there for when we're together, and we just try our best to represent well.
Yeah. Have you learned a lot more about futsal? Now, again, Alexandria is very advanced for clubs with futsal, but futsal is not a huge focus in with clubs in America. So now you're at a much higher level and you're playing for a professional futsal player and a professional coach. Have you learned a lot more about the game, or it's just a matter of getting better at the techniques and getting used to your teammates?
I would say both for sure. I think yes, I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot more just because I'm playing with players that have a lot more capabilities. So we can do more things. We can run different set plays. We can press in a different way. We can defend. We can attack in a different way. We can go fifth man, flying goalkeeper in a different way. So tactically, yes. And being able to train more teaches you more where situations are different. You're thrown into different scenarios where you've never been in and you have to solve the problem. But it's also provided me the opportunity, like you said, to kind of hone my craft and have the opportunity to practice more and try and figure out what technique is better in different situations and just sharpen those skills to be able to be successful when the time comes.
Yeah. Well, and Ellie, you're a very modest person, but why are you so good as a futsal goalie? So, you're young, you haven't been doing this forever. Goalkeepers are the type of athletes that tend to get better as they get older. Like unlike most soccer players, you can peak when you're 21 years old and the rest is kind of downhill. Not everybody, but some. Goalkeepers tend to get better when they're older because experience matters and leadership and um, all those other qualities that come into play. Why do you think you're so good at futsal?
Ooh, I think even in soccer, that's my style of play. I'm a reaction based. I like making quick decisions, double, triple saves. Um, but like you said, experience is big. And since I did start at a young age, I think that gives me an advantage. And I did have a platform to grow and play, and I've had great coaches to help me with that. So I think I have an advantage in that where I have been playing for 6 years, and maybe an older goalkeeper where futsal hasn't been around for nearly that long. They didn't have the chance to be able to do that. Um, so but I also love it. I think if more people tried it, they would fall in love with it the way that I have, and they would get better as well. So, and then we can also look at like I think I have a great voice, and my communication saves a lot of goals. So I do my best to communicate and learn as best as possible what I need my players to be doing to make my job easier at the end of the day.
Oh, so I've been asking a lot of players, would you rather shoot a penalty kick to win a state championship, or would you rather sing a solo in front of a packed house? Since you have a great voice, you probably could do both. You could save a penalty.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
not
Not
that
a
kind of
singer.
voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So the last time we talked, you said that the transition um, from outdoor to futsal is easy or easier. And so when you come to camp, to futsal camp, and back then you were still ASA futsal, that was an easier transition for you than when you went back to the big field from futsal. Do you still feel the same way?
Exactly. Yeah. It's easier to go from a big goal to a small goal. I think logically that just is easy to explain. Making those 1v1 saves in futsal, you also do an outdoor, so you're kind of practicing the same things. Um, but then going back to say outdoor, it's the goal is bigger, and you just have to use a little bit different strategies. Either it's diving and having different reactions or a little bit different footwork here and there. It is different, but I think since I've been playing futsal more, we've had more camps and stuff. The transition has become even easier, going back and forth, which is great, and I know both my coaches appreciate.
Yeah. Does futsal help your outdoor distribution, being able to make that quick pass to the fullback? And because in futsal, that's all you do, right? You don't punt the ball. So
Yeah, I would say yeah, it does. Decision making and just overall like game like alertness has definitely improved. Where in futsal you need to know where all other 8 players are on the court at all times. So using your peripheral vision and just keeping up with the play has helped in outdoor. When the ball comes back to me and maybe someone's pressing me, I know who's open at the time because I've already scanned and I already know because of my experience in futsal.
yeah, yeah. Do you still think that being your time playing futsal, apart from representing the country, and the fact that you also enjoy it, but also improves you as an outdoor goalie?
For sure. For sure. I think it helps to sharpen those reaction skills and being able to read 1v1s. And I think a lot of futsal is since it's in close quarters, you have to read the players a lot more when they're on the ball and they're doing their 1v1 skill moves, and then all out of nowhere they pop a toe poke out of there and you just got to react to it. So being able to read body language and body positioning and understanding all of that stuff, as well as being quick with your feet on the ball and off the ball, is definitely helpful for sure.
Yeah. So what about playing for your country? Are the nerves more intense when you do that than playing in a big soccer match? Did it feel much different to you?
Um, no, yes and no, yes and no. When I'm in the game, no. I'm a player and I'm just playing my sport and I'm enjoying it. Um, Pre-game, post-game, yes, it's a different environment, different pressures for sure. I mean, there's no better feeling. I mean, you play the national anthem in a high school or a college game, okay, but then in an international game, you're wearing the crest, and it's a different emotion, and everyone's singing, and it's very different. And it's great. I love that, and I thrive off pressure, I think for sure. So I wouldn't change anything, but it's definitely a little bit more to it when you are representing your country.
Yeah. Well, speaking of national anthem, you recently played Canada. I think you played Canada. We played them twice, didn't we, or once?
Just that third game,
Just,
yeah.
just yeah, the third game. Was there any tension in the air? Because I'm sure you heard at the hockey games that were played because of Trump's rhetoric towards Canada. There was a lot of tension in the hockey. Interesting in the soccer, they played in the men's, and there was none at all. Soccer players could care less. But hockey's different. What about the futsal? Did you notice anything between the Canadian women and the U.S. team?
No, I wouldn't say, not necessarily. I think I mean, they also had like soccer players that go to university in the US. So that might be the only thing where it's like we're like really on level playing field where we both go to college. I'm not sure if anyone has played against each other, but
Yeah,
that's different as well as they understand English. So
yeah,
calling plays is a little bit different. Being able to do that. And I mean, honestly, I would say playing the other two games, there was a little bit more tension just because it's like, oh, we want to beat the US. They have a little bit of an ego about them and they're like, oh, this is our sport. We want to beat the US. So it's tough. And then having international referees changes everything. And being able to do that. I think the US always is going to have a target on their back, especially in women's soccer. With the success the outdoor team has had, I think that translates a little bit to futsal. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's 10 players on the court, and you just play the game, and
yeah.
hopefully the best team wins.
No, exactly. Hopefully, it continues to be the U.S. So, one of the games you were rotated out in the second half. So there's another. I forgot her name. Who's the other goalie in the national team?
Martha Lord, yeah,
Yeah, she's from Maine, I believe, right?
correct,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and you rotate out. So is that normal in futsal? Like you don't normally see that in international soccer. You may see it in college soccer. You definitely see it in club soccer because we're paying often, but you don't see it very much in professional soccer or even international soccer. What about was that rare that you guys are rotating, or this is kind of a new thing? I mean, it was the first international tournament. We're trying to get to know each other, and the coach is trying to get to know his team.
Yeah, I not many other teams did that. Of course, a couple there was a little bit of rotation um for the other teams in the tournament. For us, I think we had two great goalkeepers, myself and Martha, where we both have our skill sets and they're different from each other, but they're useful in certain scenarios. So I think that was the main decision there to rotate us and just kind of try it out. We played a couple friendlies in Costa Rica a month or so prior, and we both did phenomenal. So we train equally as hard, and we have different skill sets. So I think it was great that we both got an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's goalkeepers is very tough because unlike field players, and we talked about this last time, when you have 10 players, there is room for everyone all the players that the coach really wants to play. There's a time and place for most players to play. Goalie, it's a little bit tougher because there's only one spot, and then also, if things are going well, like I believe you came out with a clean sheet, and that almost would never happen in a real game. You don't even take your center backs out, and probably not even your fullbacks out with a clean sheet. Do you make it a priority to get along with the goalkeepers you share time with? Because you seem like you've always, in the high school and ODU, you've always had other great goalkeepers and also futsal now on your team with you.
Absolutely. I think it's so important that goalkeepers are there and we are our own biggest fans. We have to be, because we spend the most time together, we train together, and if I'm not making her better, that's not making me better. So of course I want to be playing, of course I want to do all of that, but at the end of the day, like it's still my team and I want what's best for my team. So if they're on the field, they're on the court, then I've got to be their biggest cheerleader and support them in every way that I can. And building that relationship off the court and off the field is really important. And I will say, like, I think goalkeepers are usually their closest with each other just because we share the same emotions. We share a lot of time together in training and dealing with different things together. So it's important to have that solid relationship because there's always going to be some level of competition. But if you have a good relationship within healthy competition, it's just going to make you both better, and which makes the team better and makes everyone happier.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, if you're a goalkeeper, you got to be kind of strange. So you guys probably get along. The famous English commentator Andy Gray used to always say, who would be a goalkeeper?" It's just the perfect way to sum it up. You have to be a little bit different to want to have shots, beamed at you like that. So tell us a little bit about the tournament itself. Was it in Costa Rica, the tournament?
It was in Guatemala.
Guatemala. Okay.
Guatemala, yeah.
So I know the first game you won big. In the second game, we got a tie, and then we lost to Canada, so we didn't get out of pool play. But tell us, what were your perspectives of the tournament?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, that was kind of my first professional tournament, you could say. So it was very professionally done. I mean, everything it was down to the minute, and it was very organized and well set up. So that was good. Besides a couple power outages, but that was interesting. Nothing you can do there. But besides that, I think it was great for women's futsal that it went successfully. It was smooth, no big issues, and the competition was high. Of course, we came out of the gates flying against Honduras, and they had already played a game prior. They had to do a play-in game against Nicaragua, so we had them on their second game in 2 days, which is quite heavy on the leg. So we were able to get at them, and obviously we were excited to be in the tournament, so we knocked a couple goals against them. Me and Martha, we kept a clean sheet, which is a great start. And then going into the Costa Rica game, we were excited. We had played them already 3 times a couple weeks ago. Different squad, I think, on both sides. Um, Ended up they had a little bit of a different tactic against us, and we tied. So we were like, okay, like we probably wouldn't have liked to drop points there. In hindsight would have been helpful to kept that a win. And then going into Canada, it was we had to get through, and at the end of the day, we didn't get the job done. So disappointing for sure, but overall, a great experience, and the tournament was awesome to be able to be a part of. Once again, it's history, and I was hoping to be a part of another history books and making the first World Cup, but I was part of the first CONCACAF qualifying, so that's pretty special to say.
Oh, this was a World Cup. This was a World Cup qualifier. This.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Who ended up
Yeah.
going? Who ended up going through?
So it'll be both Canada and Panama.
Panama.
The Yeah, whoever made the championship match,
Right.
they qualified.
And Panama, do they have a futsal tradition?
I'm
Um,
not sure. Honestly, that was my first time seeing them, and
mhm.
I mean they beat a good Costa Rica squad and did well throughout their group stage. So I guess they're on their way, and we'll see how they perform at the World Cup.
Yeah. So what's next for futsal? You're waiting on a call, and then you may have a camp at some point in the fall, or what's the time frame?
Yeah, it's tough. Without us qualifying, we'll see. I mean, since this is the first World Cup and the first major tournament, there's not much else to train for or get together for. So hopefully the federation will be able to set something else up for us, and we'll be able to get together again. They said hopefully by the end of the year, but we'll see. I mean, I've got my fall and summer season coming up, so if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and we'll wait for the next cycle. But yeah, hopefully a bit more to come. Definitely. There's
Yeah.
nationals in July for club teams, so I'm sure they'll be enjoying that.
No, exactly right. Well, look, what about let's talk about Old Dominion. So you're going into your third year on campus there. I think was I right? You are a redshirt sophomore, so you're a sophomore again.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you have 3 more years. I interviewed you last time. You said, "Man, I don't want a redshirt. I only want to be here four. I don't want to be here 4 years. I only want to be here 4 years. I don't like going to school that much." Do you still feel that way?
Um, yes and no. I think I wouldn't say I'm 100% decided on either taking a fifth year or not.
Okay.
I do love Old Dominion, and if I'm there, I could see myself taking another year, but who knows what happens in the future, whether it's I've been playing great and I transfer, or I hopefully not, but I've been playing great and I go pro, or futsal is my path, or I'm just done with it, then that's what it is. But like you said, I have 3 more years to make that decision. I think a
Yeah.
lot changes in quite a bit of time, so we'll leave that open.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have the option. It's nice that they offer you the option to do that. First of all, what do you think about Norfolk? Do you enjoy it down there? All in all, have you been happy, soccer aside, have you been happy with ODU as a college and Norfolk as a home base?
Absolutely. Yeah. Norfolk, I think it's great. It's kind of got everything you need, and our campus is it's small. It's all within like 4 blocks. So it's nice and tight, and I think the people there are what makes the place, and it's great. Everyone within the athletics department and all the other sports teams is who I really interact with on a daily basis, and they're fantastic. Norfolk as a place, it's got things to do at least. We're not in the middle of nowhere. We've got quite a bit of a downtown area, and then Virginia Beach is not too far, so you can get to a beach within 20 minutes, which is perfect for me.
Yeah, you're near a beach right now, I'm sure. Now, Ellie, I hear, and this might not be fair, but you can give me your opinion. Is it true that there's crime in the area at ODU? You have to be careful around campus?
Uh, yeah, I think that's a fair statement for sure. Um, we don't have many issues on campus, at least I'm happy to say. Um, I think we all kind of understand there are boundaries, and you don't go a couple blocks this way, you don't go a couple blocks that way, but we try and stay safe with
Yeah,
everyone, and we all look out for each other, which helps.
well, that's all right. Just stay in groups. And have you decided on a major before you thought about you told me you're thinking about business.
Yeah, I've switched to sports management.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. That'll be great for
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hopefully
exactly.
that leads me on my way.
Exactly. So, well, first of all, let's get to soccer. Um, uh, the, the rules have changed back, so there's no more COVID year, and so the average age of players should decrease a little bit, um, even though players still have the ability to redshirt going forward. But you kind of went to college when we had a big kind of backlog of older players that are getting extra years. So it's been even more competitive than normal. That doesn't even include the transfer portal and all the other things that are going on. Has that been a factor, the age of the players in college soccer? Have you noticed that there's, because of the COVID year, there's been some very experienced players around?
Definitely. I mean, even within my team, I was maybe 18, 19, and there was a 25-year-old on my team, which
Wow.
I think it's great to have that variety, but then you're looking at these freshmen coming in at 17 and they're playing against 25, 26-year-olds. Well, that's up for the NCAA to decide whether that's fair, and they'll continue to let that happen. But I think COVID years has been beneficial. For me at least, it didn't affect my like recruiting or anything. I think that's been the biggest impact on girls growing up and trying to get recruited to top colleges, because of course a college coach is going to take an older player that's got the experience and is developed physically and intellectually within soccer. And I mean within my team we've got a couple kids still on COVID years.
Okay.
So I mean they if that's what's best for them, that's what's best for them. And I wasn't in college for COVID, so unfortunately I don't get that extra year. But
Yeah, and we lost
yeah,
you lost your freshman year. Chandler lost the sophomore year. That was devastating. But I mean, I guess there are worse things in the world.
yeah,
We
exactly.
still had ASA practice, um, which is good. So you did have experienced goalkeepers on staff on the roster. Aaron Jones is still there. She's a Liberty transfer, I believe. Liberty
Correct.
University
Yeah,
transfer. I forgot the other goalie's name, Ellie, the one that started the Georgetown game. Um,
Emily
Emily.
Bredick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was really, really good goalkeeper as well. Um, has it been hard for you to be patient? Now, even though you've played with other great goalkeepers your whole career, most of your career you've been the only goalkeeper. And so, when you show up to a game, you're playing 90 minutes. That's been your life. That's been your life. So
Yeah.
you've had to be very patient at Old Dominion. How have you dealt with that? Has it been okay? And have you really been able to work on your game and improving because your time is coming?
Yeah, I think college soccer is a new challenge, and especially as a goalkeeper, it's that fight for minutes. And like we talked about, experience is a huge thing. So coming in as a freshman, and I'm already behind. At the time, it was a junior and a fifth year. Um, that's tough to be able to break into it and getting zero, like no minutes. It's different for a goalkeeper because you're not just going to throw a goalkeeper in for 5 minutes. It's not like a field player. You can put them on the field for
That's
five
right.
minutes and they can maybe hide a little bit, get a couple touches here and there. It's not as difficult, but a goalkeeper is in a different position where there's not a lot of rotation there. So it is a lot of it's patience and being able to balance the mental and emotional side as well as understanding that your time is coming or you just need to improve and you just got to train harder. So I think that's definitely something and probably the biggest lesson I've learned in college soccer where it's not always fair. And at the end of the day, the coach is going to make the decision that they think is best. And that, I mean, they don't want their team to lose. So they're going to put the best players on the field. So you just got to trust that process for sure.
Yeah. Have you been able to improve your goalkeeping with training sessions? Do you feel like you're a better keeper now than you were at Alexandria City?
100%. Yeah. I think college soccer is again a different game and being able to go out there every single day for an hour and a half to 2 hours and you just get to practice and you get the unlimited resources and if you want an extra session you just ask the coach and you get to do whatever you want. You have the field space at your fingertips all the time and you got the gym, you got the nutrition, you've got the coaches and all the resources you need to be able to improve and whether that's physically, mentally, or just being able to enjoy it a little bit more and getting close with your teammates. It's been great. And I will 100% say that I am a better goalkeeper than leaving high school.
It's great because I know some players, and I think especially field players, they don't play to their junior year, and and you don't want your confidence to be shot because almost any player who's on a college roster has had a lot of success in their life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on a college roster. So it's great that you feel that you've been able to move forward. Now, one thing I noticed about your roster, I know what I noticed about your team when you're at when you played Georgetown, you have a lot of really incredible European players or international players. I can't remember what country. It's been a while, but you guys do a lot of recruiting overseas.
Yeah, I think it helps. Our coaches are Scottish, so I think that opens the doors a little bit for them to reach out and network a little bit. But I think some of our best players have been international. It's great to be able to have that on the field. They bring a lot of different aspects to the team and different abilities. I think Americans have a very distinct style of soccer, and they kind of break that up a bit, and that helps us for sure. But then off the field, it's great to have friends who or around the world and just bring in a different culture and be able to experience that and learn a bunch of new things from them.
Yeah. Well, and the Scottish accent is my favorite English accent. It's great. Does she? I forgot your coach's name, Ellie.
Angie, Coach
Angie.
Angie.
Yeah. Does she have a
Yeah.
strong Scottish accent?
Yeah, she and our associate coach are both Scottish and they're quite strong. So you're a little bit patient and kind of let them do their thing.
You're sitting there waiting for the subtitles to come on sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
So look, it's summertime, and when do you start thinking about going back to training? When do you guys go back, and what are you thinking about the team for this year?
Um, so for us, we report, I think earlier than everyone I know. We report June 30th. We're back on campus and we're we coaches aren't allowed because August 1st is the start of preseason, so that's when coaches can work with us, but we can have our strength and conditioning coach help us. We can have captains practices and do all that stuff. So we're there for 6 weeks prior to preseason, which is great. We get to know each other a little bit more, run our fitness, do our strength, get a few touches on the ball, which is awesome. So it's coming up shortly, and I'm excited to get back already.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's going to be an all or nothing thing with you and Aaron? Do you think that one of the goalkeepers is going to have to earn the spot, or do you think it's going to be a situation like Georgetown where you guys use two keepers, or it all depends?
I think I think it depends. I mean, we're both coming in, and I think we're on a level playing field. I think it's going to be great competition, and we are close friends, so that is
Okay.
definitely helpful. Where if one of us isn't playing, they're going to cheer the other one on, and vice versa. So that's great. I think the coaches are going to have a mindset of you got to earn your spot, and whoever's playing is hopefully going to do their best. And if the level drops, then maybe they make a change. Maybe they don't. They stick with it. But we'll see. It's tough to say. It depends on how we come in the summer. it really does depend, and I think it'll be great. We have an incoming freshman as well. So hopefully she comes in and just helps push the level in training, and who knows, maybe she'll start playing. Like it's really up for grabs. So which is great. It's optimistic to think that way, and I'm excited for the challenge, but also the excitement at the same time.
Well, I'm excited for Ellie Goodrich to be the number one goalkeeper this year. My favorite ASA goalkeeper. So, how do you like the college schedule? Like high school, it's kind of a compressed 3 months intense schedule. Unlike professional soccer where they play throughout the year, maybe once a week. It's a very intense schedule. Plus, of course, you have class. Do you enjoy that schedule?
I do. I'm a type of person that likes to stay busy, so I think it's great. And at least at my school, we have a great academic support system. So when we miss class, or we're able to schedule our classes in a way that assists in when we do have travel days. And I think it's helpful that typically our schedule allows for us, we travel midweek, and then we're home on Sundays, which is great that we can start the week fresh at home. The compression is tough. I see it more uh, posing a challenge for, I'd say, field players, just because it's a different physical demand. Mentally, once you get to the end of the season, I think it's any sports league, you're drained. It's true, but it's kind of, there's no way around it, and you just have to find little moments of there's a little bit of a spark, and you just enjoy the journey, because once it's over, you're like, oh dang, like I kind of miss it. You miss the craziness, you miss the little moments you have with your team on the bus or in the airport when you miss your flight or whatever it is. But yeah, it's tough for sure. If anyone's incoming, it is challenging, and I wouldn't undermine it, but it's something you should enjoy, and it's great memories.
Yeah, you said you're drained after the season. I bet you it's tough because then you're drained, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's exams. So do you find that is it hard to to get prepared and motivated to take exams after a long season?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. And it's also challenging because you are missing class. So whether like, yeah, it's a little bit easier to be able to complete those one-off assignments, and then you get to the final exam and you're like, oh, I missed that class.
Yeah.
It is challenging, but luckily, at least at ODU, our professors are quite supportive, and they have opportunities to check in and either make accommodations or just help you out a little bit extra, because they understand that just the extra demands we have to go through.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's a little bit tougher on you this year just because you guys make the College Cup. So you're playing into December, I think. It's pretty late, but it'd be a huge achievement. Last question, Ellie. So, do you miss Alexandria? I mean, obviously you're in Florida now. You're traveling a lot. You have to report early, so you don't get to spend a lot of time up here anymore. One thing about going to college, you get to see other places in the world that you may want to live one day. So when you think back on your time in Alexandria, do you miss it? And do you think one day you'll live in Alexandria, or do you kind of like the beach life and in Norfolk's kind of a cool place?
Um, of course I miss Alexandria. I think what makes me miss Alexandria is the people. So when I do come back for breaks, I try to see as many people as possible. Um, as for my traveling and being able to see different places around the world, I think that has piqued my interest, and I love Norfolk. I'm not going to say I won't live one place or I will live another place. Um, I like a different speed, and I like being able to see everything. So I'll leave once again, I'll leave it up in the air, but
Yeah.
I love Alexandria. I would never change anything about where I grew up or who I met and who helped me along the way. But no promises at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's a great city, and it's also a great club, and also a great high school. So I think you were very, very, very fortunate. So anyway, Ellie, this has been great to see you. Thanks for taking time to do this. Obviously I follow your career closely, and always I'm always happy to post your achievements, and there's been a lot. I can't wait to see how the season goes. I have a feeling it's gonna be a great season for you and your and the Lady Monarchs. But let's keep in touch, and hopefully next time we talk, you have some more incredible news to report.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. See you, Elliot. Have a great day now.